While the retail market focused on top-line volume, institutional capital quietly flagged a critical turning point in Detroit's electric ambitions. General Motors has long positioned itself as the legacy automaker best equipped to scale electric vehicles. Yet, their latest US sales figures reveal a structural shift that cannot be ignored. The company reported a 4.2% decline in second quarter domestic sales, driven by a sharp slowdown in consumer demand for its newly launched battery electric models. It is a clear signal that the gap between corporate ambition and market reality is widening. This development forces us to ask whether the premium multiple assigned to GM's transition strategy is still justified. To understand why this shift is happening, we have to look at GM's underlying economic engine. Historically, the company's high-margin internal combustion engine business, specifically its dominant full-size truck and SUV platforms, has acted as a financial moat. This segment generates the massive cash flow required to fund the multi-billion-dollar capital expenditure on the Ultium battery platform. It is a self-funding loop that peer legacy brands have struggled to match. However, when the legacy business starts experiencing soft demand while the growth engine remains unprofitable, the entire capital structure is placed under pressure. This is where the structural friction begins to show. But that legacy engine is showing signs of near-term structural stress. In the second quarter, GM's domestic deliveries came in soft, reflecting broader consumer exhaustion. While fleet sales provided some downside protection, retail volume decelerated across several core brands. This contraction matters because legacy light trucks and SUVs carry the pricing power that keeps operating margins above 8%. When retail buyers pull back, GM is forced to rely on higher promotional incentives, which directly erodes gross margins. It is not just a volume problem, it is a mix problem. The market is increasingly demanding lower margin trims, putting immediate pressure on near-term earnings visibility. Here is where the volume metrics become really interesting. Despite significant factory investments, GM's battery electric vehicle deliveries did not hit the steep ramped-up curve management previously projected. Instead, inventory is beginning to build up on dealer lots. Dealers are reporting that electric SUVs are taking twice as long to sell as their gas-powered counterparts. This lag is expensive. Carrying inventory consumes working capital and forces dealers to demand higher discounts to move vehicles. For an institutional investor, this is not just a temporary dip. It is a structural realization that the mass market consumer is refusing to pay a premium for electric powertrains in a high-rate environment. The next signal comes directly from management's capital allocation. Chief Executive Mary Barra is already adjusting the corporate sale. Rather than blindly pushing toward the previously stated target of producing 1 million electric vehicles by the end of next year, the company is quietly pulling back. Management is shifting focus toward hybrid powertrains as an intermediate bridge. This is a massive tactical pivot. It acknowledges that the transition timeline must be extended to protect structural profitability. By delaying capital expenditure on new battery plants, GM is trying to preserve its near-term free cash flow profile. It is a rational decision, but it highlights the execution risk inherent in their long-term guidance. But shifting production lines takes time, which brings up a critical question. How does management protect the stock price today? The answer lies in aggressive shareholder returns. GM recently authorized a massive $6 billion share buyback program, building on top of their previous $10 billion accelerated program. This capital allocation strategy acts as a powerful floor for the equity. By shrinking the share count, Management is artificially supporting earnings per share metrics even if absolute net income flattens. For institutional allocators, this buyback yield is highly attractive, but it also reveals a sober reality. Management currently sees more value in buying back their own stock than in aggressively reinvesting in their electric future. Now look at how the broader macro sector is reacting to these moves. The entire automotive space is grappling with a restrictive monetary policy cycle. Elevated interest rates have pushed average auto loan rates above 8% for new vehicles and over 11% for used models. This rate pressure has significantly increased the monthly payment burden on the average consumer. As a result, consumer credit delinquency rates are ticking upward to levels not seen since the global financial crisis. In this environment, expensive electric vehicles, which lack mature secondary market valuations, become highly unappealing. The macroeconomic headwind is effectively capping the industry's near-term growth ceiling. This macro deceleration is forcing a strategic realignment across the entire industry. Look at Ford, which has successfully hedged its exposure by aggressively scaling its hybrid vehicle lineup. Ford's hybrid sales have surged, capturing the exact consumer cohort that GM missed by leapfrogging straight to pure electric models. Meanwhile, Tesla's aggressive price cuts have triggered a deflationary spiral in the electric space, destroying residual values and crushing the margins of legacy competitors. GM finds itself caught in the middle. It cannot compete on price with Tesla's vertically integrated model, and it lacks the immediate hybrid scale that Ford possesses. This competitive pressure is accelerating capital rotation within the auto sector. That leads us to a bigger question regarding regulatory and structural risk. The federal government's stringent emission standards and fuel economy mandates were supposed to force rapid electric vehicle adoption. However, the slowing consumer demand has created a massive compliance challenge. If automakers cannot sell enough electric vehicles to offset their gas-powered sales, they face billions of dollars in federal fines. Alternatively, they must purchase regulatory credits from competitors like Tesla, which directly transfers profitability to their main rival. This regulatory mismatch represents a major systemic risk. It could force GM to curtail production of its most profitable internal combustion trucks just to meet emission averages. But policy changes are only one side of the margin equation. GM is also facing significant cost inflation. The historic contract negotiated with the United Auto Workers Union has permanently raised labor costs across their North American manufacturing base. These higher fixed costs mean the company's break-even point has shifted upward. At the same time, battery raw material contracts remain volatile, and domestic supply chain construction is proving more expensive than initially modeled. With higher labor costs and rising input expenses, GM's ability to maintain its 10% North American EBIT margin target is looking increasingly fragile. It leaves the company with very little margin for error. With labor costs rising and EV demand softening, how do we reassess the company's valuation? Currently, GM trades at an incredibly depressed forward price-to-earnings multiple of around 4 to 5 times. This steep discount reflects the market's deep skepticism about the long-term sustainability of legacy cash flows. The market is essentially pricing GM as a distressed cyclical rather than a technology transition story. If GM can successfully scale back its capital expenditure while maintaining its profitable truck franchise, there is room for significant multiple expansion. However, if legacy margins contract before the electric segment reaches profitability, the current valuation floor could easily give way. The path forward depends entirely on two upcoming catalysts. First, Keep a close eye on the rollout of the next generation Ultium vehicles, specifically the affordable Equinox and Blazer models. These high-volume platforms will prove whether GM can achieve profitable scale in the mid-market electric space. Second, monitor the stabilization of the Cruise autonomous driving division. After significant safety and operational setbacks, Cruise is slowly resuming testing. If Cruise can rebuild regulatory trust and establish a path to commercialization, it could unlock significant hidden value. Conversely, any further delays or safety incidents will result in massive capital destruction, dragging down the parent company's cash flow. That brings us to our tactical allocation strategy. Given the near-term headwinds in consumer demand and the rising capital expenditure risks, we are placing GM on a cautious watch list. While the aggressive share buyback program provides excellent downside protection and yields high capital returns, the structural slowdown in electric vehicle demand represents a fundamental threat to the long-term growth thesis. For investors with a long-term horizon, this is a time for disciplined position sizing. We favor a capital preservation approach, monitoring the transition from high-cost electric platforms back to high-margin hybrid vehicles before committing new institutional capital to the legacy auto sector. Ultimately, this is a story of capital discipline versus structural change. The transition to electrified mobility was never going to be a straight line, and GM's recent sales dip proves that the road is getting significantly bumpier. As institutional allocators, we must remain focused on cash flow resilience rather than corporate narrative. For more deep dive equity research and macroeconomic insights that help you navigate complex market transitions, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let us know in the comments below if you think Detroit's transition strategy is broken, or if this pullback represents a premier value play. Thank you for watching.